You water it, you wipe each leaf with care. You even whispered kind wishes into its roots. And yet, money still slips through your hands. The atmosphere in your home still feels strangely heavy. And that pothos, once so lush, now wilts ever so slightly in the corner. If you've ever wondered why, listen closely. Because this is not just a plant. This is an energy conductor. And when placed in the wrong corner of your home, it becomes a silent thief of fortune. Yes, a thief. You see, in Feng Shui, not all green is good, not all beauty brings blessings. A misplaced pothos doesn't invite prosperity, it absorbs it. Like a mirror turned backward, it reflects nothing. It just swallows. Most people don't realize they've made this mistake. They buy the plant with hope. They believe it's a lucky charm. But what they've actually done is open a quiet door, one that lets wealth walk out, while they're busy waiting for it to arrive. If you've placed your pothos in the bathroom, near your stove, or in a forgotten corner with no light, you may already be losing more than you think. Not just money, but ease, clarity, and emotional balance. This video is not about decoration. It's about energy, direction, and recovery. Because once you understand where not to place this plant, you can start to reclaim what's been leaking away quietly for months, or even years. Are you ready to find out where your wealth has been trapped? Let's begin. Section 1. Pothos, a source of wealth or a masked drain. You brought it home with a quiet kind of hope, a small green promise sitting gently in its pot, tucked by the window where morning light touches the edge of the room. You cared for it with soft hands, you whispered to it. You believed it would bring something into your life, peace, maybe clarity, perhaps even the soft movement of money finally flowing in after all this waiting. But weeks passed, then months. The air still felt heavy, the days still slipped by tight and tired, and that pothos, once bright, seemed just there, not dying, not thriving, just surviving, and maybe so were you. Here is what almost no one tells you. A pothos is not always a magnet for abundance. Sometimes, if placed wrong, it becomes something else entirely. A silent drain. A green vessel that does not call wealth in but lets it quietly leak out, unnoticed. Because in Feng Shui, nothing sits still. Everything moves, hums, pulses with direction. Energy either nourishes or distorts. And a plant, especially a living, breathing one like pothos, is not decoration. It is a conductor, a mirror. A frequency, pothos is powerful, too powerful to treat as background. Its heart-shaped leaves, trailing vines, and resilient growth make it a kind of antenna for energy. It attracts, holds, and channels. But just like an antenna, it must be pointed in the right direction. Otherwise, it picks up noise. It amplifies misalignment. It brings not clarity, but static. If you've ever worked hard, prayed hard, tried everything, and still felt stuck, as if nothing quite lands, as if your home is clean but not light, as if your efforts go unrewarded, look at your plant. Not the species, the position, because placement is not trivial. Placement determines function. A pothos near conflict will breathe in the residue. A pothos near sorrow will soften, then sag. A pothos near chaos will learn to hold tension instead of light. And the worst part? You may not even see it, because it still looks green, still unfurls new leaves. You assume it's working. You assume the energy is good. But good energy doesn't make you feel like you're treading water. Good energy lifts. This feels like drift. Like life keeps circling, not flowing. That is what happens when a plant made to magnify becomes a vessel for stuckness. And the signs are subtle. You feel tired even after resting. You lose small things, your keys, your clarity, your sense of timing. You forget your own rhythms. You begin to feel separate from your home, like the air no longer holds you. And the pothos sits there, absorbing what you can no longer process. Its soil clumps, its leaves turn dull, And you don't notice, you just think it's a hard month. Maybe next one will be better. This is not about luck. This is about energy direction. In traditional homes, Pothos was placed like you place a sacred object, not randomly, not where it fits, but where it breathes with purpose. Because this plant left unguarded doesn't know what to protect or repel. It simply reflects. It reflects the emotional climate, the psychic weight, the light or lack of it. And when that reflection turns dim, your life does too. The question is whether Pothos is a lucky plant. The question is it amplifying your fortune or quietly muting it? If it lives in a space where you never linger, if its leaves gather dust quickly, if the room it lives in feels emotionally flat, you're not decorating your home, you're dulling its current. And that dullness spreads, slowly, subtly, like fog across glass, until even the things you used to enjoy feel heavy, until the money you earn evaporates through delays, emergencies, unexplainable loss, until what once felt hopeful now feels tired. But the truth is, this is not a curse, it's a signal. The Pothos is trying to tell you that something is off, and the beauty is you can listen, you can ask. What have I placed in my space with hope but without awareness? What am I nourishing that no longer nourishes me back? What corners of my life, like this plant, need to be repositioned so they can breathe again? Because when you listen, things move. The plant shifts, the room shifts, you shift. And that is the first act of Feng Shui, not adding more, not fixing everything, but simply noticing where energy is trapped and releasing it. The Pothos can be a mirror, or it can be a magnet. The difference is placement, intention, reverence, and the willingness to say, I see you. I hear what you've been holding. Let me place you where you can thrive again. Let me place myself there too. Section 2. The 3 danger zones to never place your Pothos. If placement holds the power to invite wealth, then misplacement holds the quiet power to erode it. Not all corners in your home are safe for energy conductors like the Pothos. Some are deceptive, visually calm, but energetically unstable. They may seem like the perfect gap to fill with green. But in Feng Shui, what looks empty is often holding something heavy. And when a living plant is placed in such a zone, it doesn't just sit there. It absorbs, it carries, and in time it mirrors that weight back into your life. The first and most dangerous placement is the bathroom. It doesn't matter how clean it is, how pretty the tiles. The bathroom is a zone of release both physically and emotionally. It's where waste goes, but it's also where invisible burdens settle, stress washed off your skin, quiet grief in the steam of a late-night shower, the silence after arguments that no one wants to speak of. This space carries yin energy, low, dense, and often stagnant. A Pothos, with its open, absorbent nature, begins to act like a sponge. It soaks up what cannot be flushed. Its roots may rot slowly. Its leaves lose their sheen. You won't notice it right away. You'll just feel more drained each day, less focused, more irritable, as if the bathroom followed you back into the rest of the house. That's because energetically it has. The plant carries that energy with it. And instead of purifying your space, it becomes a carrier of what you were trying to release. The second danger zone is directly across from the stove. This placement triggers what Feng Shui calls a wood-fire clash. Wood and fire are both vital elements, but when forced into direct opposition, they don't nourish each other. They fight. The Pothos, as a wood element, carries upward, growing life. The stove, as fire, transforms and consumes. Place them in a direct line, and you invite conflict into your home's energetic blueprint. This shows up subtly but surely. Meals that don't taste quite right, conversations that turn sharp too easily, money that comes in and immediately burns through. It also affects the cook, the one who tends the fire, They may feel increasingly fatigued, unmotivated, or emotionally volatile. And the plant, it tries to withstand the heat. It grows unevenly. Leaves may curl or brown without reason. But more dangerously, the clash is invisible. You won't see flames. You'll just feel a quiet unrest, a sense that something's off in the heart of your home, and that unrest travels into how you rest, how you spend, how you speak to those you love. The third zone is the most deceptive, dark, forgotten corners, the places where air doesn't move, where dust gathers even when you clean, where the sun never touches the wall. These are the silent traps in a home's energy map. People place plants here with good intention, to brighten it up. But what they're really doing is asking the plant to carry the weight of a space that cannot breathe. And Pothos, loyal as ever, will try. It will stretch toward imaginary light. It will hold its green as long as it can. But eventually it will give in. Leaves will yellow and fall. Soil will smell faintly sour. Tiny bugs may appear. And still you might not move it. You'll say, it's just a plant. But it's not. It's a barometer. And the message it's sending is, energy is dying here, and maybe so is your ability to receive. Because when a plant weakens, Feng Shui sees more than a gardening issue. It sees a reflection of blocked prosperity, effort without reward, and blessings that hover just out of reach. Each of these three zones, bathroom, stove line, and dark corners, share one thing in common. They confuse the plant's purpose. Instead of allowing it to circulate and lift energy, they force it into a state of survival. And that survival mode leaks into your own life. You become the plant, stuck, dimming slowly, carrying weight that isn't yours. So what should you do? Start with presence. Walk to your plant. Look at it not with frustration, but with a new eye. Ask, where is it sitting? What is the energy of this space? Really? Is this a place I enjoy spending time? Is this a space where light moves, air breathes, life pulses? Or is this where I put things I didn't know where else to put? Then move it. Not just physically, but intentionally. Clean the area it once lived. Sprinkle salt in the soil or on the floor to absorb what lingers. Open a window, even if only for a few minutes. Let something move. Let the plant start again somewhere better, because it will. Pothos is resilient. So are you. What matters is the message. Don't let what was meant to uplift you become what quietly holds you back. Don't let beauty fool you into keeping things where they don't belong. And above all, remember, placement is never random, especially not for the things that carry life. Let your home speak. Let your plant breathe. And when you notice that something so small could change how you feel, how you live, how money flows through your life, then you're no longer decorating. You're aligning. And that is when Feng Shui truly begins. Section 3. Power Spot 1, Living Room, left of the entrance. There is one space in your home that quietly holds more influence over your financial flow than any other room. It's not the office, not the bedroom, not even the altar. It's the living room, specifically the left side as you enter through the main door. In Feng Shui, this is no ordinary corner. This is the seat of arrival. The place where energy first lands before it travels through the rest of your home. It is the gatekeeper of flow, the temperature check of fortune, and the unspoken mirror of how you receive life itself. Most people overlook it. They decorate the living room for guests, arrange it for comfort, maybe clean it for appearances. But they forget, the living room is not just a social zone. It is the energetic heart of the home. And the left-hand side as you step in is what classical Feng Shui calls the wealth corner, the position of the green dragon, the auspicious side of inflow, prosperity, and forward momentum. Place the right object here and it doesn't just beautify, it awakens. It opens the lungs of the house. It starts a conversation with abundance. This is where your pothos belongs, not tucked behind furniture, not crammed next to cords, but honored, visible, vibrant, clean. Because when placed here, the pothos becomes more than a plant. It becomes a filter, a soft magnet, a pulse stabilizer. As people enter, as energies shift, the plant holds space. It reads the incoming frequency. It digests what's heavy. It softens what's chaotic. And then it passes only what is smooth into the rest of the house. What does this look like in real life? It looks like fewer misunderstandings. Like your mornings feeling easier, like doors opening without force. It looks like clients saying yes. It looks like groceries costing less than expected. Small, quiet signs that the flow has cleared. But here's what most people miss. Placement within the placement. Not every left corner is ready. If the space is cluttered, if the furniture is too angular, if sharp edges point at the plant, it disturbs the current. You may still feel better, but the effect will plateau. To activate the full potential, the area must breathe. A rounded pot in jade green, off-white, or soft gold. No red, no black, no flashing LED lights nearby. The pothos should stand at knee to waist height, not on the floor, not towering above eye level, just enough to meet you gently as you enter. And light. Oh, light matters. This is a space that should hold soft, filtered brightness. Not harsh glare, not total shade. If natural light is scarce, add a warm lamp nearby, not cold white, but gentle amber like late afternoon sun. Because light, like water, determines how energy roots. If your household includes elders, children, or anyone carrying fatigue or anxiety, this placement becomes even more important. The pothos in this position acts like a whisper of calm, not dramatic, not visible in a single day. But over time, you will feel it. Arguments cool before they escalate. News feels less overwhelming. The air feels less thick. It is not magic, it is resonance. The plant is stabilizing the field you live in. Some may ask, why pothos? Why not another plant? The answer is simple. Few plants combine symbolism, resilience, and energetic absorption like pothos. It grows in layers, mimicking the accumulation of wealth. Its roots are soft but persistent, mirroring the way fortune should enter, gently, steadily, without chaos. And its leaves, heart-shaped, alive with breath, act as both shield and invitation. But be mindful. This is not a set-and-forget ritual. A neglected pothos in the wealth corner is worse than none at all. Dusty leaves signal stalled luck. A tilted pot reflects imbalance. Dry soil is a metaphor for missed opportunities. This plant must be a conversation, not a command. Tend to it as you would tend to a door you wish wealth to walk through. And if you're wondering how to start simple. Clear the space. Remove anything sharp, broken, or dead. Choose a pot that feels good in your hands. Place 2 ancient coins under the soil, symbols of circulation and continuity. As you press them in, whisper not a wish, but an intention. Let energy move freely here. Let what is good come in. Let what is heavy dissolve. That's all. No chant, no incense, no ceremony, just presence. Then watch. Not for signs, but for shifts. For mornings that feel less rushed. For laughter that returns to the room. For the way your wallet no longer empties as quickly. These are the real signs of alignment. Not luck, not superstition, but the return of smooth flow. The kind of flow that doesn't rush, doesn't shout, it just stays. So if you've never thought about your living room as the first place money meets your home, now you know. And if you've placed your pothos elsewhere, now you understand why things may have felt a little stuck, despite all your good effort. It was never the plant. It was the direction, the conversation, and the readiness to say, this space is not just where I sit. It's where my energy arrives, and from today forward, I'll greet it like a guest I want to keep. Section 4, Power Spot 2, Front Door, the gatekeeper of fortune. Before prosperity can settle, it has to be welcomed. And the very first place it knocks, before it even enters your life, is your front door. Not symbolically, energetically. The front entrance is what classical Feng Shui calls the mouth of Qi, the primary entry point of all external energy. This is not just where you receive guests. This is where your house receives life. And if you do not guard this space with care, even the most harmonious interiors can't save your fortune from slipping away. The truth is, most people underestimate the power of this threshold. They sweep the steps, hang a welcome sign, maybe place a mat. But they forget, the energy that walks in does not stop to read messages. It reads frequency. It feels openness. It senses protection. It searches for invitation. And if the first thing it meets is chaos, or worse, neglect, it hesitates. It scatters. It chooses not to stay. This is where the Pothos becomes essential. Placed just inside or outside the main entrance, the Pothos serves as a living gatekeeper. It's not aggressive. It doesn't block. It filters. It decides with quiet grace what energy moves forward and what gets left behind. In homes located near intersections, under high-rises, close to hospitals or cemeteries, or anywhere energy tends to swirl chaotically, this role becomes even more vital. The Pothos softens what's too sharp, absorbs what's too heavy, and roots what is good. But this only works when you place it with purpose. If you have a front porch or small yard, the ideal setup is simple but powerful. A light trellis against the wall and a climbing Pothos reaching upward. As it grows, it forms what's known as an energy curtain, a soft, living barrier between the street and your sanctuary. This doesn't block opportunity, it protects it. And the higher it climbs, the more clearly you'll feel the space beyond the door begin to breathe differently. More softly, more slowly. As if the house finally has lungs. If you live in an apartment or narrow city home, don't worry. 2 smaller Pothos pots placed symmetrically on either side of the entrance can do just as much. This twin placement has deep symbolism. It represents the left and right guardians, ancient protectors of spiritual boundaries. They create a sense of balance even before you step inside. But the symmetry must be precise. The pots should be raised slightly, never directly on the floor. This keeps the energy from grounding too quickly and becoming stale. 20 to 30 centimeters is enough, just enough to keep the field lifted. Enhance this further with simple additions. Tie a red thread or ribbon around each pot, no knots, just a gentle loop. Slip a single old coin under the soil, preferably round with a square hole, representing heaven and earth in harmony. If you can, hang a small metal wind chime above the door, not loud, not decorative, just delicate. A whisper of sound that breaks up stagnant qi and calls in fresh movement every time the door opens or wind stirs. But none of this matters if the plant is sick. A dying Pothos at your front door is not neutral. It is a signal, a warning. In Feng Shui, a wilted guardian invites unstable energy. It shows that no one is paying attention. And when no one is watching the threshold, misfortune finds easy entry. So you must tend to it, gently, consistently, with awareness. Not like a chore, but like brushing the hair of a loved one. Water it with the same hands that hold your keys. Wipe its leaves with the same cloth that dusts your family photos. This is not just maintenance. This is declaration. I protect the energy of this home. I choose what may enter. I choose what must stay out. And when your Pothos thrives at the door, everything changes. Visitors feel more at ease. Deliveries arrive without issue. Paperwork flows more smoothly. And above all, you feel different as you cross that threshold. You feel held, supported, like you're walking into a space that has your back. If you've ever felt like luck always passes by your house, if you felt waves of tension enter as soon as someone else opens the door, if your home feels invaded by things you can't name, an unease, a heaviness, a restlessness, this is where you begin. Not inside, not at the altar, not in the deepest room, but here, at the edge, where all energy begins. So go to your entrance today. Stand where a guest would. Look not with your eyes, but with your awareness. What do you feel? What greets you? Is there warmth, or is there absence? Is there movement, or has something grown still? Then place the plant, not just anywhere, with intention, with steadiness. Let it be the first to say yes to what enters. Let it be the first to say no when it must. And let every person, seen or unseen, who passes through that door feel it. This is a house that knows how to receive. Section 5, Power Spot 3 Work Desk, where thoughts shape wealth. Your thoughts have weight. Your ideas, your worries, your tiny private sparks of inspiration, they don't just disappear into the air. They land, they settle. They form patterns and eventually outcomes. In Feng Shui, the desk is more than a work surface. It is a portal, a stage where intention becomes action and action becomes reality. And yet most people treat it as a storage zone. A dumping ground for paper, cords, receipts, plans they forgot to follow. They clean it only when it's unbearable. They sit at it only when they must. And then they wonder why clarity won't come, why motivation feels distant, why work feels like pushing through fog. Let me offer another possibility. It's not that you've lost your drive. It's that your energy field is cluttered and your work zone, your command center, is absorbing that fog and reflecting it right back at you. This is where the Pothos enters. Placed in the correct spot on your desk, the Pothos becomes a living conductor for intellectual energy. It doesn't just sit there looking pretty. It does something your planner never could. It stabilizes your mental field. The soft, steady vibration of its growth, layer upon layer of green flowing in slow arcs, reminds your energy to stay fluid, not frantic, to respond, not react, to grow, not scramble, the ideal position. On your left-hand side as you sit at your desk, not in the far corner of the room, not on the floor, not above your head, but close, within reach, within view. Feng Shui teaches that this corner represents the wood element, growth, career development, learning, and financial advancement. Place a Pothos here and you're not just inviting greenery. You're giving your ideas somewhere to land, somewhere to root. You'll notice something subtle first. Your thoughts slow down, but not in a bad way. They stop racing. They begin to line up like respectful guests waiting their turn. Then the cluttered mental noise starts to fade. You look at the same spreadsheet, the same email thread, and suddenly it makes more sense. Not because anything changed on the screen, but because the energy surrounding you is finally coherent. This is especially powerful for women who work from home, manage family finances, care for others, and try to keep their own creative life alive in the gaps between responsibilities. When you sit down and the energy around your desk is harsh, too many electronics, too many open tabs, too much static, it's not just your attention that scatters. It's your sense of deserving to focus that dissolves. Pothos brings that back. It says silently, you are allowed to think clearly. You are allowed to take up space with your vision. It doesn't shout, it doesn't sparkle, it just holds. But again, placement alone is not enough. The plant must breathe. Never place it behind large objects or in a shadowed corner where you forget it. Do not let dust gather on its leaves. In Feng Shui, dust equals stagnation. Wipe each leaf with a damp cloth once a week. This is not a chore. It's a ritual. As you clean it, say, softly or silently, my thoughts are clear. My mind is supported. I am ready to receive. Avoid oversized pots that dominate the desk. You are not trying to crowd your field, you are trying to center it. Choose a pot that's round, smooth, and grounding colors. Jade green, off-white, soft yellow. Avoid anything too glossy or reflective. Mirrored pots bounce energy back too fast and can make you feel scattered. Be mindful of your devices. Your phone, your laptop, your wireless charger. They all emit what ancient Feng Shui masters called killing energy, electromagnetic radiation that subtly disturbs your nervous system. The pothos can absorb and neutralize some of this, but only if it's healthy. If the leaves start curling or browning, it's not just plant stress. It's your energy trying to push through noise. Want to strengthen the effect? Place 2 small objects beside the plant, one metal, one earth, a coin and a small ceramic bowl. Metal strengthens water, which nourishes wood, the elemental sequence that empowers the plant. Earth anchors it. And together they create a cycle that mirrors how ideas become real. Spark right arrow, nourish right arrow, ground right arrow, grow. What happens over time? You'll feel less resistance sitting down. Tasks will unfold more smoothly. You'll begin to finish what you start. You'll remember the thing you meant to do earlier without strain. You'll say no more clearly. You'll say yes more calmly. And when unexpected expenses or shifts arise, you'll meet them with steadiness, not panic. Because your desk will no longer be a battlefield. It will be a sanctuary. And the pothos, it will no longer be decor. It will be a quiet partner. A green sentinel reminding you every time you glance its way that your thoughts matter. Your time matters, and wealth is not just what you store. It's what you create breath by breath, thought by thought, leaf by leaf. Section 6, Power Spot 4 near the kitchen. Holding heat, holding wealth. Not all wealth is money. Sometimes it is the feeling of warmth in a home that holds itself together. The smell of soup at dusk. The soft clinking of bowls. A quiet dinner without tension. In Feng Shui, the kitchen is not just where food is prepared. It is where fortune is cooked. It is the vault of nourishment, the silent forge of family harmony, and one of the most sacred centers of energy in the entire house. Which is why the energy here must never be ignored. Most people focus on the living room or the altar when thinking about prosperity. But the truth is, if your kitchen energy is off, wealth leaks out slowly, invisibly, through conflict, through carelessness, through emotional friction that rises like steam and never quite clears. This is where the pothos plant finds one of its most quietly powerful roles, as a healer of the fire zone. Fire in Feng Shui is both powerful and risky. It cooks food, fuels joy, warms connection, but when unbalanced, it burns. It agitates, it overwhelms. You felt it before, a sudden argument in the kitchen over nothing, an edge in the air when someone's cooking while stressed, a heaviness that lingers even after the dishes are done. That is fire energy with no filter, no buffer, and over time it doesn't just affect mood, it affects money. When a kitchen carries unresolved tension, the energy of sustained fortune cannot take root. You may earn well, but spend chaotically. Groceries go bad, bills multiply, meals feel rushed. There's no rhythm, no center. A pothos placed near the kitchen, thoughtfully, respectfully, can begin to change that. It doesn't fight the fire, it balances it. The soft, trailing growth of the pothos introduces wood energy to this space. In the 5-element cycle, wood controls fire, not by extinguishing it, but by shaping its burn. It cools what's too sharp. It grounds what's too volatile. Think of it as placing gentle green fingers around a flame, not to snuff it out, but to teach it to dance. So where exactly should the pothos go? Not on the stove, not directly across from it. Never between two sources of fire like the oven and the microwave. Instead, place it just beside the kitchen area, near a window if possible, or on a counter that receives indirect light. The best direction: east or southeast, where morning sunlight activates the wood element most naturally. The glow of that light on green leaves in the early hours is more than beautiful. It is spiritually stabilizing. It signals to your home. Heat will not overwhelm us today. Warmth will serve, not harm. You'll feel the shift in small, human ways. Meals will begin to carry a softness again. Conversation will feel less guarded. Cooking, even simple tasks, will feel less like survival and more like care. The kitchen stops being a battleground or a chore and becomes what it once was, a place of quiet abundance. And for households with strained relationships, between generations, between spouses, between self and body, the change can be profound, because food is not just food, it is energy exchange. And when the energy of cooking is tense, that vibration gets passed into the meals, into the hands that stir the pot, into the words that rise with the steam. A healthy pothos here interrupts that cycle. It absorbs, it holds, it breathes. And in that breathing, it gives the room a chance to reset. To strengthen this effect, use a few quiet rituals. Under the pot, place 2 objects: a pinch of coarse salt to absorb emotional residue, and a pair of old coins to symbolize preserved fortune. Do not let the salt touch the roots. Wrap it in soft cloth or place it under the saucer. Salt does not just cleanse physically, it soothes spiritually. It is the silent purifier of spaces we forgot were holding too much. And care for this plant as you would care for a shared memory. Keep its leaves clean. Let it breathe. Don't crowd it with too many appliances. Let it witness your daily rituals, not as a decoration, but as a quiet guardian. If your kitchen has no room at all, consider placing the pothos just outside its entrance. Let it become the green breath you pass through before entering that sacred fire zone. Let it remind you each time you step in that this is not just a room. It is where you feed your future, your health, your connection to those you love. Because when kitchen energy is respected, wealth doesn't just arrive, it stays. Not as stacks of cash, but as food that comforts, conversations that soften, and a sense of flow that moves from your hands into your home and back again without interruption. So yes, the pothos can bring prosperity, but only when it's placed where your home most needs peace. And for many, that place is near the stove, not to cool it down, but to help you remember that heat, when held with care, nourishes more than food. It nourishes fortune. Section 7, Power Spot 5, beside the ancestral altar, a living prayer. There is a place in the home where silence is not emptiness, it is reverence, where each object holds memory, each offering carries a whisper. This is the ancestral altar. And in Feng Shui, it is one of the most spiritually potent spaces, not because of what is placed there, but because of what lives through it. It is not just a shrine, it is a bridge between time. A quiet portal where the past watches over the present, and the present chooses how to honor the future. Most people decorate this space with candles, incense, maybe flowers on special days. But few consider adding a living plant. And fewer still understand that a pothos placed beside the altar, not on it, not above it, but gently beside, is not just a decoration. It is a living prayer. Why? Because pothos is a plant of memory. Its vines trail like ancestral lines, reaching, spiraling, connecting. Its leaves, soft and heart-shaped, hold the energy of life that continues, even in silence. And when placed beside the altar, it acts not just as greenery, but as a living presence. A message, a signal to the spirits we remember, we nourish. We live in alignment with what came before. In traditional Vietnamese and East Asian belief, the altar is where yin energy concentrates. It is a place of stillness, quiet power, and deep spiritual vibration. But if left unbalanced, this yin energy can grow too dense. It can make the space feel cold, heavy, disconnected. The Pothos brings a gentle yang balance, not disruptive, not overpowering, but uplifting. Its life force does not compete with the sacred, it harmonizes, it supports. But like everything in Feng Shui, placement must be intentional. Do not place the Pothos in front of the tablets or sacred images. Never on the altar itself unless advised by spiritual elders. Instead, let it stand beside the altar, either to the left or right, depending on space. Ideally, it should be placed slightly below altar level so it supports without overwhelming. Its pot should be simple, respectful, avoid flashy colors or metallic shine. Earth tones, jade green, off-white, ceramic if possible. Something that feels like it belongs in a space where people lower their voices. And light, yes, light matters here too. The altar should never be in total darkness, nor should the plant. A soft, natural light nearby, perhaps filtered by a curtain, helps both the altar and the Pothos breathe with clarity. If natural light is not available, a small warm-toned lamp lit during the day can create the same effect. But the true power lies in the ritual of tending. Before important dates, like ancestral death anniversaries, the Lunar New Year, or the first of each month, clean the leaves with your bare hands. Do not rush. Do not talk. Let each touch be a moment of connection. Whisper, if you wish, a small message. Thank you for guiding us. May our roots stay strong. May our home stay peaceful. You don't need long prayers. You need sincerity. The plant feels it. So to your ancestors, if you ever feel that your house is restless, if family members fall sick often, or dreams feel disturbed, or the air near the altar feels off, look to the Pothos. Has it been forgotten? Are its leaves dry? Its pot dusty? That is not just neglect of a plant. It is a sign that the channel between worlds has dimmed. The solution is not fear, it is reconnection. Water it gently, trim it with care. Sit near it for a few minutes in silence, even without incense or words. Let your body be the offering, your stillness the respect. And if your family has a history of broken ties, past pain, or unspoken grief, this practice becomes even more powerful. Because the Pothos doesn't just hold light, it holds forgiveness. It grows anyway. It teaches that even the tangled parts of our lineage can produce new green. That we are not trapped by what came before, but we are invited to heal it slowly, leaf by leaf. To strengthen this space, you may place a small object under the pot. A slip of paper with your family's surname written in calligraphy, or the names of loved ones you wish to honor. Fold it quietly. Let the plant grow above it, not to hide it, but to protect it. And remember, the ancestral altar is not a place to ask only for wealth or luck. It is a place to align, to live in a way that makes blessings natural, organic, flowing not because we begged, but because we remembered. The Pothos becomes your silent helper in this. It does not bloom with flowers. It does not need applause. It just grows. In its growing, it tells the spirits, we are listening. We are alive. We are continuing the story you began. And that, perhaps, is the deepest form of Feng Shui. Not the placement of things, but the placement of spirit. The conscious weaving of living energy into the rituals of remembrance. The choice to place not just a plant, but a living intention where memory and presence meet. Final, not every shift in life begins with a grand gesture. Sometimes it begins with a leaf, a corner, a soft movement of green in the right place, breathing quietly beside your daily life. No demands, no noise, just presence. The Pothos is not magic. It will not bring you instant fortune. It cannot erase years of hardship. But placed with care and honored with consistency, it becomes a small but powerful turning point. A thread of harmony that weaves its way into how you move, how you think, how your home begins to hold you more gently. Because Feng Shui is not about rearranging things, it's about realigning energy. And energy is born not from theory, but from how we show up every day, where we choose to place attention, how we greet the morning light, how we care for what grows in our space. That care speaks louder than any ritual. So perhaps the real question is not, where should I place my pothos? It's, where have I stopped tending to the flow of life in my own home? Where did stillness turn into stagnation? Where did beauty turn into habit? You don't have to answer aloud, just walk slowly through your space. Let your breath meet each room. Let your hands touch the leaves you once watered with hope. Notice what softens. Notice what returns. Because wealth is not just what enters your home, it's how your home receives it. And sometimes all it takes to begin is to move a plant. And with it, the quiet decision to move your life in a softer, more intentional direction. Now pause, feel the stillness, and ask yourself, what is ready to grow again?